You know, they say blood is thicker than water, but I learned the hard way that money can make blood run pretty thin. I'm sitting here now, looking at the deed to Romano's Italian restaurant, and I still can't believe how we got here. But let me start from the beginning, because this story, it's been eating at me for months. My name is Marcus, and I grew up in a family where every celebration, every milestone, every important moment happened around a dinner table. My grandmother, Nonna Rosa, she used to say that food was love, and sharing a meal was sharing your heart. We'd gather at Romano's every Sunday after church, this little family-owned Italian place that had been serving our neighborhood for 30 years. The red checkered tablecloths, the smell of garlic and basil, the way Mr. Romano would personally greet every family. It was our place, our tradition. I was the middle child of 5 kids, and somehow I always felt like I was fighting for my place at that table. My older brother Jake, he was the golden boy quarterback in high school, full scholarship to college. Now he's some hotshot lawyer making 6 figures. My younger sister Emma, she was the baby, the princess who could do no wrong. And me, I was just there, average grades, average looks, working at the local hardware store while trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. When I turned 25, I made what my family called the biggest mistake of my life. I dropped out of community college and used my savings to start a small handyman business. Nothing fancy, just me, a truck, and a toolbox. My dad, he was furious. You're throwing your life away, Marcus. You could be something more. My mom, she just looked disappointed, which somehow hurt worse than Dad's anger. But you know what? I was good at it. Really good. I had this knack for fixing things, for seeing solutions that other people missed. Started with basic repairs, then moved into renovations, then custom work. Within 2 years, I was booked solid. Within 5 years, I had 3 employees and was taking on commercial projects. But my family, they still saw me as the dropout, the one who couldn't hack it in the real world. The breaking point came last October. My cousin David was getting married, and the family was planning this huge celebration dinner at Romano's. They'd reserved the entire back room, invited extended family from 3 states. It was going to be the biggest family gathering we'd had in years. I was actually excited about it, you know. I'd been working on this beautiful custom dining set for David and his fiancée, spent weeks on the inlay work, hand-carved details. I was proud of it, but then Emma called me on a Tuesday evening. I remember because I was in my workshop, putting the finishing touches on the dining set, when my phone rang. Hey Marcus, about David's wedding dinner next week. Yeah, I've got my suit ready. Can't wait to see everyone. There was this pause. This long, uncomfortable pause that made my stomach drop. Well, the thing is, we had to trim the guest list. The restaurant has a capacity limit, and with all the out-of-town relatives, what are you saying, Emma? I'm saying we couldn't invite everyone. You understand, right? It's nothing personal. Nothing personal. Those words hit me like a sledgehammer. 27 years of family dinners, of being part of this tight-knit group, and suddenly I'm the one who doesn't make the cut. Who else didn't get invited? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Just you, Marcus. Look, we'll all get together soon, I promise. Maybe we can do something smaller, just the immediate family. I hung up without saying goodbye. Sat there in my workshop, surrounded by the tools of my trade, looking at this beautiful dining set I'd made for a cousin, who apparently didn't think I was worth a seat at his wedding dinner. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent my life working with my hands, creating things, fixing things. But I couldn't fix my place in this family. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I drove to Romano's and sat in the parking lot, just watching through the windows. Families laughing, sharing stories, passing plates around. I thought about all the memories we'd made in there. My first communion dinner, when Nonna Rosa gave me her gold cross. Jake's graduation party, when even he seemed proud of me for once. Emma's sweet 16, when we all surprised her with a cake shaped like a music note because she loved singing. And now I wouldn't be there for David's wedding celebration. Not because I lived far away, not because I was sick, but because I simply wasn't important enough to make the list. I started my truck and drove home, but something had changed in me that night. Some part of me that had always hoped for their approval, their acceptance, just died. Or maybe it didn't die. Maybe it transformed into something else. Something harder. The wedding dinner happened that Saturday. I know because Emma posted about 30 photos on social media. The whole family crowded around that long table in the back room, David making a toast, everyone laughing at some joke I couldn't hear. Even my great-aunt Millie was there, and she lived 4 states away. But not me. In 27 years of family gatherings, I'd never missed a single one. Until now, I called my grandmother that night. Nonna Rosa. She was 93 and sharp as a tack, the matriarch of our family. If anyone would understand, it would be her. Nonna, did you know I wasn't invited to David's dinner? Yes, Bambino. I know. Did you ask why? I ask. Your father. He say it's decision of the young ones. It's not his place to interfere. But you could have said something. You could have. Marcus, listen to me. Sometimes when people show you who they are, you must believe them. Your family, they love you, but they no respect you. And without respect, love is. Come see Dice. Is empty. She was right, of course. She was always right. But hearing it from her, it made everything so much more real. So much more final. I threw myself into work after that. Started taking on bigger projects. Pushing my business harder than ever before. I landed a contract renovating a small office building. Then a contract for a boutique hotel. The money was good. Better than I'd ever imagined when I started with that beat-up truck and a toolbox. But the real turning point came in December. I was grabbing coffee at this little place downtown when I overheard 2 men talking at the next table. One of them was clearly stressed, running his hands through his hair, looking like he hadn't slept in days. I don't know what I'm going to do, Tom. 30 years I've been running Romano's, and now this. The bank wants their money, and I just don't have it, Romano's. I almost choked on my coffee. This was Mr. Romano, the owner of our family restaurant, the man who'd been serving our Sunday dinners for as long as I could remember. How bad is it, Saul? The other man asked. Bad, real bad. I took out a loan 2 years ago to renovate the kitchen, upgrade the equipment. Business was good then, but with the pandemic, the supply chain issues, people not eating out as much. I'm 3 months behind on payments. They're talking foreclosure. I sat there, listening to this man's life falling apart, and all I could think about was that room full of empty tables, the checkered tablecloths, the framed photos of families like mine who'd made memories there. This place wasn't just a restaurant. To me, it was where I'd learned what family was supposed to feel like, before I learned what family actually was. I waited until the other men left. Then I walked over to Mr. Romano's table. Excuse me, Mr. Romano. I'm Marcus Castellano. My family, we've been coming here for years. The Castellanos, we usually sit in the back corner booth on Sundays. His face lit up. Marcus, of course. How's your grandmother? Rosa, she's good? She's good, Mr. Romano. Listen, I couldn't help but overhear. You're having some financial trouble? His expression fell. Ah, you hear that? I'm sorry. I don't usually talk business in public, but he shrugged. Is not good, Marcus. 30 years I built this place, and now, what if I told you I might be able to help? He looked at me skeptically. You? No offense, but you're Jake's little brother, right? The one who works with his hands. That's right. And these hands have built a pretty successful business. Mr. Romano, how much do you owe the bank? Is too much. 200,000, maybe more with the interest and penalties, to 100,000. I'd been sitting on almost twice that in business accounts. Money I'd been saving for some vague future expansion. Money that I'd been accumulating while my family wrote me off as a failure. What if I paid off your debt? Mr. Romano laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Marcus, that's very kind, but I can't accept charity. And I don't think you understand how much money. It's not charity. It's a business proposal. I pay off your debt, and you sell me the restaurant. Full ownership, but you stay on as manager. Keep running the day-to-day operations. I'm not trying to take your life's work away from you, Mr. Romano. I'm trying to save it. He stared at me for a long moment. You're serious? Dead serious. I've got the money, and I've got a good relationship with the bank. I can have the paperwork drawn up by the end of the week. Why? Why would you do this? That was the question, wasn't it? Why would I buy a restaurant I knew nothing about running? To save a business that would probably struggle even with the debt cleared? The logical answer was that it was a terrible investment. But the real answer, because this place means something to me. It's where my family gathered for 30 years. It's where I learned what it felt like to belong somewhere. And maybe, Maybe I want to make sure it's still here when I'm ready to start my own family. We shook hands right there in the coffee shop. By the end of the week, I owned Romano's Italian restaurant. The legal stuff took about a month to sort out. Mr. Romano couldn't believe how smoothly everything went. I'd learned a lot about business dealings from my construction work, and I had a good lawyer who specialized in small business acquisitions. The bank was thrilled to get their money back, especially since they'd been expecting a total loss. But I didn't tell my family. Not yet. I wanted to get everything settled first, understand the business, make sure I could actually make it work. Mr. Romano and I spent hours going over the books, the suppliers, the staff, the regular customers. I learned that Mrs. Patterson came in every Tuesday for the chicken parmigiana, that the DeMarco family always ordered extra breadsticks, that the Johnsons' anniversary was coming up and they'd been celebrating at Romano's for 15 years. I also learned that my family had been coming there every Sunday for 30 years, but they'd never once asked Mr. Romano about his life, his struggles, his dreams. They treated him like part of the furniture, pleasant but forgettable. That stuck more than I expected. I started making small improvements, nothing dramatic, just things that needed attention. New paint in the bathroom, better lighting in the dining room, a few repairs that Mr. Romano hadn't been able to afford. I convinced him to expand the wine selection, add a few new dishes to the menu. Business started picking up. The first time I saw my family after buying the restaurant was at Nonna Rosa's 94th birthday party in February. They'd planned it at Romano's, of course, because that's where we always celebrated. I got the invitation 3 days before the party. Clearly an afterthought. I almost didn't go. Part of me wanted to walk in there as the owner, make some dramatic announcement, watch their faces when they realized that their family failure now owned their precious gathering place. But that felt petty, and Nonna Rosa deserved better than family drama on her birthday. So I went, and I sat at the far end of the table, and I listened to Jake talk about his latest case, and Emma talk about her new boyfriend, and everyone fuss over David's new wife. I smiled and nodded and played the part of the unremarkable middle child, while Mr. Romano served our family like he had for 30 years. But something was different. When Mr. Romano brought out Nonna Rosa's cake, he caught my eye and winked. When my dad complained about the music being too loud, Mr. Romano apologized, but didn't actually turn it down, something I'd never seen him do before. When Emma sent back her pasta because it was too salty, Mr. Romano just smiled and said, "Of course, miss. We make new one right away." But I could see the look in his eyes. He was protecting me. Or maybe he was protecting the restaurant. Either way, I felt this strange sense of belonging. No, that wasn't right. I felt like I was home. But not because of my family. I was home because this place was mine now, after dinner. While everyone was saying their goodbyes, Nonna Rosa pulled me aside. "Marcus, you look different tonight. Happier. Do I? S. You have secret, I think." I looked around the restaurant, at the pictures on the walls, the worn wooden floors, the table where my family had just finished celebrating. Maybe I do. Nonna. Good secrets or bad secrets? Good ones, I think. But I'm not ready to share them. Yet. She patted my hand. You share when you're ready. But Marcus, whatever you do for you, not for them. You understand? I kissed her forehead and promised I would. Spring came early that year, and with it, more changes at Romano's. I'd been working closely with the chef, a young guy named Carlos who'd been there for 5 years, but had never been allowed to add his own dishes to the menu. Together, we started offering weekend specials, fusion dishes that honored the traditional Italian base but added modern touches. The reviews were incredible. I also started hosting special events, wine tastings, cooking classes, live music nights. Nothing too fancy, just things that brought people together around food and conversation. The restaurant that had been struggling to stay afloat 6 months earlier was now booked solid most weekends, but the real test came in May, when David and his wife announced they were expecting their first child. Of course, the family wanted to celebrate with dinner at Romano's, and of course, I got the invitation at the last minute. I was tempted to skip it. I had legitimate reasons. We were hosting a wine tasting that same evening, and I really should be there to oversee things. But something Nonna Rosa had said kept echoing in my head. You do for you, not for them. Going to that dinner wasn't about them anymore. It was about me, about being comfortable in my own space, about not letting their opinions dictate my choices. So I went, and I sat at the same spot at the far end of the table, and I listened to everyone go over the ultrasound photos, and I smiled when David made jokes about sleepless nights and dirty diapers, but this time, when the service was slow, I didn't get frustrated. When Emma complained about her wine, I didn't cringe. When my dad made some comment about real jobs and supporting a family, I didn't feel that familiar pang of inadequacy, because I knew something they didn't know. I knew that every time they raised their voices, every time they snapped at the staff, every time they acted like they owned the place, they were actually talking to the person who did own the place. And that person was me. The revelation came in July. Emma was getting married in September, and the family was planning the engagement party. They'd called Romanos to book the back room, the same room where I'd been excluded from David's wedding dinner 9 months earlier. Mr. Romano called me at home that evening. Marcus, your family, they want to book the back room for September 15th. Big party, maybe 40 people, but they want discount, family discount they say. What I tell them? I sat there in my living room, looking out at the garden I'd been working on all summer, thinking about the last 9 months, the stress of learning a new business, the satisfaction of seeing it grow, the pride I felt when customers complimented the food or the service, the sense of purpose I'd found in creating something meaningful. Tell them the regular rate, Mr. Romano. No discount. You sure? They say they've been coming here 30 years, I'm sure. And Mr. Romano, I think it's time I told them who really owns this place. You ready for that? I'm ready. The engagement party was on a Saturday night. I'd spent the week preparing, not just the restaurant, but myself. I'd bought a new suit, gotten a haircut, even had my shoes professionally shined. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. The family started arriving around 6. My parents, my siblings, aunts and uncles I hadn't seen in months, Emma's future in-laws, friends from college. 43 people in total, all there to celebrate Emma's upcoming wedding. I arrived at 6:30, after everyone had been seated and served their first round of drinks. The back room was beautiful. We'd added some new artwork, upgraded the lighting, and the tables looked perfect with the white linens and fresh flowers I'd ordered specially for the occasion. Emma hugged me when I walked in. Marcus, I'm so glad you made it. I was worried you might not come. Wouldn't miss it for the world, I said, and I meant it. I made my way around the room, greeting relatives, shaking hands, accepting congratulations on behalf of my sister. Everyone was in a good mood. The wine was flowing, and the atmosphere was warm and celebratory, but I could feel the tension building in my chest. The weight of what I was about to do, what I was about to reveal. Part of me wondered if I should just let it go, just enjoy the evening and keep my secret to myself. But another part of me, the part that had been ignored and dismissed and excluded, that part needed this. Dinner was served at 7:30. Mr. Romano and his staff moved through the room efficiently, serving the appetizers, refilling wine glasses, making sure everyone had what they needed. I watched them work, proud of the team we built, proud of the service we provided. My dad stood up to make a toast when the main course arrived. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight to celebrate Emma and Michael's engagement. This family has been gathering in this room for 30 years, and it means the world to us to share this special moment with all of you. He raised his glass. To Emma and Michael, may your marriage be filled with love, laughter, and many more family dinners around tables like this one. Everyone clinked glasses and drank, and I felt the moment approaching. It was time. I stood up slowly, my heart pounding. Actually, Dad, since you mentioned this room and how long our family has been gathering here, I have something I'd like to share. The room got quiet. Emma looked at me curiously, probably wondering why I was interrupting her moment. This restaurant has been incredibly important to our family for 3 decades. It's where we've celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and now engagements. It's where Nonna Rosa taught us that food is love, and sharing a meal is sharing your heart. I paused, looking around the room at faces that had known me my entire life, faces that had watched me grow up, faces that had written me off as the family disappointment. But what you don't know is that Romanos was in trouble. Serious financial trouble. The owner, Mr. Romano, was about to lose everything. 30 years of serving families like ours, and he was going to lose it all. I could see confusion on some faces, concern on others. Emma was frowning, probably wondering where this was going. So I did something about it. Last December, I bought Romano's Italian restaurant. I paid off all the debts. I kept Mr. Romano on as manager. and I've been working to make sure this place continues to be here for families like ours. The silence was deafening. I could hear the clink of glasses from the main dining room, the sound of Carlos calling out orders in the kitchen, but in our room, you could have heard a pin drop. My dad was the first to speak. You what? I bought the restaurant, Dad. I own it. Have for 7 months now. Jake was shaking his head. That's impossible. You don't have that kind of money. Actually, I do. My little handyman business, the one you all thought was such a joke. It's been very successful. Successful enough that I could afford to save this place when it needed saving. Emma was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. You mean, all this time when we've been coming here, you've been eating in my restaurant? Yes, my mother finally found her voice. Marcus, why didn't you tell us? This is wonderful news, is it, Emma? Because 9 months ago, when David was getting married, I wasn't important enough to be invited to the family dinner. Right here, in this room, at my restaurant. You excluded me from the family gathering in the place I owned. The words hung in the air like smoke. I could see the realization dawning on their faces, the understanding of what I was telling them. You didn't invite me because you thought I was a failure. You thought I was an embarrassment. You thought I wasn't worthy of a seat at the family table. But while you were writing me off, I was building something. I was creating something meaningful. And when this place needed saving, I was the one who saved it. Uncle Tony cleared his throat. Marcus, we never meant to make you feel. Yes, you did. I kept my voice calm, steady. You meant exactly that. You've always seen me as the least successful, the least important, the one who didn't matter as much as the others. And you know what? I let you make me feel small and insignificant and grateful for whatever scraps of attention you threw my way. I looked around the room one more time, at these people who shared my blood but had never really seen me. But I'm not that person anymore. I'm the person who saved this restaurant. I'm the person who kept your family tradition alive when it was about to disappear. I'm the person who made sure there would still be a place for Emma's children to celebrate their milestones just like we celebrated ours. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a manila envelope. Emma, this is for you. Consider it an engagement gift. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a certificate for a free wedding reception at Romano's, up to 100 guests, including dinner, wine, and dessert. I may not have been important enough to invite to David's wedding dinner, but I want to make sure you have everything you need for your special day. Because that's what family should do for each other. That's what love looks like. I kissed Emma on the cheek, shook hands with her fiancé, and headed for the door. Marcus, wait. It was my father's voice. But I didn't turn around. Enjoy your dinner, everyone. The wine is excellent tonight. I picked it up myself. I walked out of that room, through the main dining area where other families were enjoying their Saturday night dinners, and into the kitchen where Carlos was plating the dessert course. How did it go, boss? He asked. Better than expected, I said, and I meant it. I stayed in the kitchen for the rest of the evening, helping with the dinner service, talking with the staff, feeling more at home than I had in months. Through the service window, I could see my family finishing their dinner, talking in hushed tones, glancing toward the kitchen door occasionally. They left around 10 o'clock, and I watched from the window as they gathered in the parking lot, clearly having an intense discussion. Emma kept looking back at the restaurant, and I thought I saw her wiping her eyes. Mr. Romano found me in the office around 11, going over the receipts from the evening. Your family, they know everything now? They know everything now. And how you feel? I thought about it for a moment. Free. I feel free. He nodded. Is good. Family, they important. But respect is important too. You cannot have one without the other. Mr. Romano, can I ask you something? Of course. In all the years my family has been coming here, did they ever ask about you? About your life? Your family? Your dreams? He smiled sadly. No, Marcus. They never ask. They see me as the man who brings the food, nothing more. But you see me as person. You save my dream, my life's work. That is why I work so hard for you. Not because you pay me, but because you see me. I went home that night and sat in my garden, looking up at the stars, thinking about everything that had happened. I felt different. Not angry anymore, not hurt, just peaceful. Like I'd finally said everything I needed to say, done everything I needed to do. My phone rang around midnight. It was Emma. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Emma, it's okay. No, it's not okay. We treated you terribly. I treated you terribly. You're my brother. and I should have stood up for you. You can't change what happened, Emma. None of us can. But I can change what happens next. We all can. Marcus, what you did tonight, what you've done with the restaurant. I'm so proud of you. We're all proud of you. Are you? Yes. And I'm ashamed that it took this long for us to see it. I talked to each of my family members over the next few days. Some conversations were harder than others. My dad struggled the most. I think because he'd been the most vocal about his disappointment in my choices. But even he eventually admitted that he'd been wrong, that he'd let his own ideas about success blind him to what I was actually accomplishing. Jake was the last to call. You know, little brother, I always thought I was the successful one in this family. But what you did, buying that restaurant, saving it, building something meaningful, that's real success. That's the kind of success that matters. Thanks, Jake. That means a lot. Can I ask you something? Are you going to keep running the restaurant? I'm going to keep owning it. Mr. Romano runs it day to day, but I'm involved in the big decisions. It's become a real passion for me. And your construction business? Still doing that too. I've got great guys working for me now, so I can focus on both. Actually, I'm thinking about expanding. Maybe buy a few more restaurants. Create a little chain of family-owned places. That sounds amazing, Marcus. And if you ever need legal help with any of that, I'll call you first. Emma's wedding was beautiful. We held the reception at Romano's, just like I'd promised. The back room was transformed with flowers and candles and string lights, and it looked like something out of a fairy tale. Emma wore our grandmother's pearls and carried roses from the garden I'd been working on all summer. During the father-daughter dance, I was standing in the doorway between the kitchen and the dining room, watching my family celebrate in the space I'd saved. Mr. Romano came up beside me. You happy, Marcus? Yeah, Mr. Romano. I'm happy. Good. You deserve happiness. You deserve respect. You deserve family who see you for who you are. I'm building that family now. Not just blood relatives, but people who choose to be here, who choose to support each other. Like us. Nonna Rosa found me later that evening, after the cake had been served and the dancing had begun. She was sitting in her wheelchair, near the window, watching the celebration with a smile on her face. Marcus, you come sit with me. I pulled up a chair beside her. Having fun, Nonna? Is beautiful wedding. Emma, she looks like angel. And this place is more beautiful than ever. You do good work here. Thank you, Nonna. You know, when I was little girl in Italy, my papa, he tell me something. He say, Rosa, sometimes you must lose your family to find your family. I never understand what he mean. Until now. What do you mean? You lose them, but you find them again. Better this time, with respect, with understanding. And you find new family too. People who see your heart, who value what you give to world. She patted my hand with her paper-thin fingers. Your papa, he told me about restaurant. About how? You save it. I so proud of you, Bambino. So proud. I love you. Nonna, I love you too. And Marcus, your family, they love you too. They just forget how to show it for a while. But they remember now, as the evening went down and the last guests were saying their goodbyes. I found myself alone in the back room, clearing glasses and straightening chairs. This room had been the source of so much pain for me, the place where I'd felt most excluded, most forgotten. But now it felt like home. Emma came in as I was folding the last tablecloth. Marcus, you don't have to clean up. You should be celebrating. I like doing it. It helps me think. She sat down in one of the chairs and watched me work. What are you thinking about? Everything. How different things are now compared to a year ago. How much has changed? Do you regret it? Any of it? I thought about that question, really thought about it. No, I don't regret buying the restaurant. I don't regret what I said at your engagement party. I don't even regret all the pain that came before, because it led me here. Where is here? Here is knowing who I am. Here is building something meaningful. Here is having a family that sees me for who I really am, not who they think I should be. She was quiet for a moment. We see you now, Marcus. We really see you, I know. And I see all of you differently too. We're not the same family we were a year ago, and that's okay. We're better. 6 months later, I bought a second restaurant. A little Greek place that was struggling with the same problems Romanos had faced. The owner, Mrs. Papadopoulos, reminded me of Mr. Romano, passionate, hardworking, but overwhelmed by the financial pressures of running a small business. My family helped me with the renovation. Jake handled the legal paperwork. Emma designed the new menus. Even my dad showed up with his toolbox to help with some electrical work. It felt good, working together towards something positive, something that mattered. The grand reopening was a huge success. All the local food bloggers came. The mayor cut a ribbon, and we had a line out the door. But the moment that mattered most to me was when I saw Mr. Romano walk in with his wife and daughter, dressed in their Sunday best, ready to support my new venture. "Marcus," he said, shaking my hand, "I'm so proud of you. You take what you learn at Romano's, and you use it to help another family." This is what success looks like. As I write this, it's been 2 years since I bought Romano's. The restaurant is thriving. We've won several local awards, and we booked solid most nights. I've opened 3 more restaurants now, each one a partnership with the original owner. Each one a story of saving something valuable that was about to be lost. But the real success isn't in the business numbers or the awards or the recognition. The real success is in the relationships I've built, the family I've created, the sense of purpose I've found in preserving spaces where people can gather and share their lives. Last Sunday, we had our monthly family dinner at Romano's. All of us gathered around the big table in the back room, sharing stories and laughter and homemade tiramisu. Jake brought his new girlfriend. Emma brought her husband and their newborn son. My parents brought photo albums to show off their new grandson. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I truly belonged at that table. Not because I was trying to earn my place, not because I was grateful for their acceptance, but because I was exactly where I was supposed to be, with people who saw me for who I really am. Nonna Rosa, now 96 and still sharp as ever, raised her wine glass toward the end of the meal. "I want to make toast," she said in her accented English, "to Marcus, who teaches that sometimes you must save the table before you can earn your place at it." We all raised our glasses, and I felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over me, not just for the success of the restaurants, not just for the reconciliation with my family, but for the journey itself, for learning that my worth wasn't determined by other people's opinions, that my value wasn't tied to their approval. I learned that sometimes the best way to find your place in the world is to create it yourself. Sometimes the best way to belong is to build something worth belonging to. And sometimes the family that matters most is the one you choose to build around tables that you've saved with your own hands. I still own Romano's. I still run my construction business. I still gather with my family every Sunday for dinner. But now I know something I didn't know 2 years ago. I'm not just a member of this family. I'm the one who made sure we still had a place to be a family. And that makes all the difference in the world.